Welcome to the Writing Center's presentation on MLA formatting. First of all, what is the Writing Center? We are a free resource on campus for students and staff members and pretty much anybody university affiliated to come and get help with any kind of writing. We have tutors of different disciplines. We have undergraduate students that come from different academic departments. And then we have graduate teaching assistants and lecturers from the English department. We can help with any kind of writing in any stage of the writing process. So whether you're just trying to think of an idea, or if you're all the way at the end of your writing process and you're just kind of looking for somebody to look over it one last time, we can help anywhere throughout that writing process. And we are located in the Mitchell Memorial Library on the second floor. That's going to be the drill field entrance. Same floor as Einstein's. You just go straight back and we are going to be on the right side. We also have hours at the Templeton Athletic Center for athletes, and we have online hours as well. To make an appointment, you just go to our website, which is listed here, and you can make an account with your MSU email address, and then just select which appointment you would like. So like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of different stages of the writing process. So we can help with any one of these. So what is a writing style? So there's a lot of different kinds of writing styles, and most of them align with a specific academic discipline, or they have different goals, or they're specifically made to meet different needs and expectations for each discipline. So MLA is for talking about language. It likes direct quotations and page numbers. It also talks about everything in present tense, so not past tense or future tense, present tense. And in addition, MLA citations tend to be longer and include anything that you use whenever you are making your paper. So these are a few different MLA resources. I personally really like the Purdue OWL. They have a lot of really detailed guides and different things for writing an MLA, and pretty much it can answer any questions you have. And that sample MLA paper can be really good as well when you're checking your formatting. So in general, MLA is going to be double-spaced, 12-point legible font. It's usually going to be Times New Roman, unless otherwise specified. And you're only going to leave one space after periods and punctuation marks. So a lot of people get confused about what double-spaced means. That's going to be the spaces between the lines, not spaces after periods or things like that. It's going to be the spaces between the lines, and that's going to be a formatting thing that you can change in Word or Docs or whatever you're using. So you're going to have 1-inch margins on all sides, and every paragraph is going to be indented using the tab key. That is definitely recommended above using a bunch of space, above just hitting the space bar a bunch of times. Make sure you just hit that tab key. And then your header is going to be in Times New Roman in the top corner of every page, and that's going to include your last name and the page number. This is an example. So there's not going to be a title page for an MLA paper. So your first page is going to look like this. So you have your upper left-hand corner. You're going to have your name, the writer's name, and then so your name first, then your professor's name, the class you're in, and then the due date of the assignment. And make sure you're doing it with like number, month, year. Then you can see that header up in the top right corner as well. It's going to be a running header, so it's going to be on every single page. For the title of your paper, you are going to center it, and it's just going to be still just that normal space. See, all of this is double spaced because it means there's a line of space between each line of writing, and so you're going to have just that normal line between your date and your title. And you do not need to put it in italics or bold it or use quotations unless you are naming something that would need to be in quotations or italics. So in this example, The Haunting of Hill House is in italics because that's the name of a book but otherwise you don't do anything like that. Then you're going to start writing your paper. So you're going to have that tab, and then you just start writing. So MLA uses in-text citations. Anything you use in your paper that comes from an outside source must be cited in the text, either through direct quotations or through paraphrases. So MLA uses the author last name, page number style of parenthetical citation, meaning it's in parentheses after the citation, and there's no comma between those two identifiers. So your first identifier is the author's last name, and your second identifier is the page number that you got it from. So in-text citations direct readers to the full reference entry on the works cited page. It's going to be the last thing on your paper. And each source cited in text must have a corresponding works cited entry and vice versa. So if you have something that's an in-text citation, it needs a full entry on the works cited page. And if you list something on your works cited page, you should have an in-text citation, at least one, somewhere in your paper. So paraphrases and quotations must be cited. No matter what, you're going to do that. So here's some examples of what you can do, some different things you could do. So this first one is going to be just like a typical paraphrase. So falsely balanced news coverage can distort the public's perception of expert consensus on an issue. Kohler 89. So you'll notice that the parentheses is inside. The period is outside the parentheses, what I'm trying to say. And there's no comma or anything between Kohler and 89. Or you can see the next one is another way you could do it. Kohler noted the dangers of falsely balanced news coverage, 89. So because you said the author's last name in the actual sentence, you don't have to include it in the parenthetical citation, but still you have to include the page number. And then this last one is an example of a quote and also what you would do if you had multiple authors. So effective teams can be difficult to describe because, quote, high performance along one domain does not translate to high performance along another, end quote. And then Irvin et al. 470. And that's what you do if you're going to have more than two authors. You would do that. Your works cited page is going to be the last thing you include. It's going to be the last thing you include on your MLA paper. It's going to start on a fresh page, so you can, after you finish writing, you can insert a page break and it'll take you to a completely new page. It needs the same standard formatting as the rest of the paper, so you're going to have the same font, the same double spacing, and you're going to have that same running header at the top. And then, kind of like you had your title at the very beginning of the paper, you're going to write the word works cited, and that's going to be centered at the top of the page. No quotations or anything, just the words works cited. All entries should be on the left margin with a hanging indentation for each entry. So a hanging indentation is a little thing you can do where it's going to make every single line after the first line have an indentation. Only your first line will be aligned to the left. And you're going to have this for every entry you have. So what a typical works cited entry is going to look like, you're going to have your author's name first, and you're going to do last name, comma, first name, and then a period, and then you're going to have the title of the work. So down here we can see Love and Courtship in mid-20th century England. That is in quotation marks because that is the title of the article you're citing. And then you have the title of the container. We have historical journal, and that's in italics because a container is a bigger work, so that's going to be in italics, whereas your normal title is just going to be in quotation marks. You can cite a container as something, and then in which case you would put your title in italics. It just depends on the kind of source you're citing, but generally if you're citing like an article or something, it's going to be that quotation marks and then italics for your container. And then you can list the volume number, the number, and the year it was published. If you have more information about when it was published, like a date specifically, you can include that as well. And then you can include what pages you used, if you're using it from like a book or something like that, or things like that. And then you can put the website you got it from or things like that. So for like this first one, we see Wiley Online Library. That's going to be where you got it from or where it was published at. And then for online sources, you can include this DOI link. You can get that whenever you're getting it from an online database. And all the entries should be in alphabetical order by the author's last name. So we see Alonso, Alvaro comes before Langhammer, Claire, because Alonso comes before Langham in alphabetical order.